Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's the Liquor Talking right here on WCRN AM 830. And we are broadcasting from Julio's Liquors on Route 9 in Westboro. Come on down. You definitely want to come today. Randall Bird, we talk all the time about all the stuff we try, all our special projects, and all of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Special products, single barrels, special beers, special wines, all this other stuff. We talked endlessly about all these great things. Well, we're having an event today. What we did this summer, tasting event at 2 o'clock today.
I know what you did this summer.
2 to 3:30 today. We're going to be tasting out on the floor a lot of our projects right now. So, and we're going to get to a couple of the other things. But in addition to that, and I think it's sort of important to point out, is that there's a huge 2-day sale going on this week. So today and tomorrow, Saturday the 28th and Sunday the 29th of September, 25% off 13 bottles of wine, 20% off 4 bottles of spirits, 20% off 6 4-packs of beer, 20% off 6 cigars, and 20% off 3 bottles of hot sauce. There's some stipulation stuff. You come down and see it. There's a 2-day sale. It's insane what we're doing. What we're doing across the board. It's basically the entire store. It's basically make your own sale. And in addition to that, we're going to have a lot of our stuff open for you to try.
Right.
It's one of those type of things that the worlds collide and they meet as one.
That's right. This is an event that I think that a lot of people who could be listening on the show and in your drive or doing whatever you're doing on your
drive down to Julia.
Saturday morning, you can actually taste, look at, and have the conversations with us.
140 Turnpike Road. We're in the Westboro Shopping Center. Go to juliosliquors.com. Go to Julios Liquors Facebook page. Watch this fiasco we call show. But all this stuff is going to be culminating today at Julio's on Saturday, especially at 2 o'clock. We're going to start tasting stuff out. It's free. We're going to have some barrel roll food, which is, I believe, are going to be pepperoni and cheese.
I like
yeah, it's going to be food, Randall. Yeah. All right, let's bring in
2 to 3:30. But, before we can get to all that excitement, we have a whole nother very special guest about to join us on the dais.
He's coming, making his way. Ray, stop kissing the babies. And of course, El Ray. Introduce him?
Yeah. The grape one, El Ray. The only man I know who has a golf cart styled like the Pope Mobile. Bulletproof glass. I think it's a little bit pretentious, but, it's how he rolls.
Well, he's here for the wine of the week. So he's got a special wine of the week for us. Oh, let's cut that nonsense out. But he's got a special wine of the week for us this week.
This is a much anticipated thing, if I remember correctly. But I'll let you speak about it, Ray. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So, the moment has come.
Okay.
The handcrafted Midnight Cellars Mooncraft that is designed for Julio's only arrived. It rested for about 5 weeks, and today is the grand opening. And Randall, I know you're more than thrilled about this. I got a phone call earlier from your wife, and she says, "Please, Ray, open the wine." Randall has been talking incessantly about this.
Yes, that's me.
For weeks. So it is open now.
He is a big whiner.
Yeah. So 2022 vintage Mooncraft, special blend for Julio's only. It is a blend of 50% Cabernet Sauvignon, 50% Malbec. So in Paso, there are 2 basic regions. There's an east side of Paso and a west side. The east side is where all the big wineries and conglomerates are. On the west side is where the smaller family-owned boutique, if you will, wineries are, and one of them is Midnight Cellars. So Rich Hartenberger, the owner winemaker, decided to allow us to use his specially select Cabernet and Malbec from 2 exclusive areas. The Malbec is coming from 3 different vineyard sites in an area called Templeton Gap. The Cabernet is coming from an area really near his home, actually, Willow Creek, where the soil is stony and hilly. And
terrible soil, great for winemaking.
Great for Cabernet Sauvignon. And the thing about both areas, heavy influence, maritime influence from the Pacific Ocean. So you get these very, very cool nights, warm days, a little fog in the morning that burns off during the day. Very, very conducive for great grape growing.
And I'll be tasting all this in the glass. Is
You'll
what you're
be ta-
saying?
yeah.
The terroir,
And more.
right?
And more.
And
Yeah.
more. 1 + 2 does not, 2 + 2 does not always equal 4. Sometimes it equals 5.
Okay.
So it makes it, sometimes the combining of two products, especially like Cabernet and Malbec, makes something bigger than the sum of the
It's
two
individual
parts.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But now you've been excited about this. You're letting it rest for, I thought you said 5 weeks or,
It's been 5 weeks. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and that's specifically to let it just kind of not have that bottle shock opening kind of thing.
Correct. It's
And you feel that it's ready now.
Yes.
Okay.
It's ready now. Yeah. So with this 50-50 blend, when you look at a red blend, there's always one grape that's dominant. Like Cabernet is the dominant grape, and you have Merlot and Cab Franc. Here it's 50-50, and it's a very harmonious blend. So the Malbec is not overtaking the Cab and vice versa, but you get the effects of both grapes. So with that Cabernet, and again, very bright, very nice acidity level that you may not get from Napa Valley type Cabernets. So here you're getting from the Cabernet some black fruit like blueberry,
black
Yep.
fruit, chocolate, mocha.
vanilla,
Yeah, a little
in there.
vanilla in
Yeah,
there. It's
yeah.
really, really
Some
great.
cassis in there as well. And then with the Malbec, you're getting a little bit more red fruit like raspberry, black raspberry actually, and some regular raspberry, some red currants as well,
Yeah.
and some plum in there. Baking spices, you can almost pick up if you if you think about it and taste it and really think about it, picking up some baking spices like cinnamon, clove in there as well.
Here's the really, really cool part about this. You don't have to even take our word for it. Today, Ray is going to have this open at 2:00 this afternoon when we start our event. You can come in and try it. Try before you buy it.
Absolutely.
So you definitely can do that today. Now, normally this is going to sell. This is a $21.99 bottle. And I can tell you right now, it's $18.99 for its release date. So you're getting a really good buy. This will not discount any further, but it will count towards your total amounts to get the bigger discounts on the other stuff, right?
Right.
The 25%.
Correct.
But you're going to come in and try this. And we have people that are coming in to pick up their wine that they have pre-ordered today also. Because again, we strive to do this as much as possible, is have you try the product so you already know the answer before you leave the store. I like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. We got plenty of other stuff for you to try.
This
We would
is-
rather you go home and already know the answer, that you love this and you want to have
And
it.
this
for
is
your
one
table.
of our special projects. You put in a
Right.
lot of time and effort to make this happen.
Right.
Waited 5 weeks, before even releasing it. And now, what I wanted to explain was that, like, let's say I bought 6 bottles of this, I would get it at the $18.99
This
price.
$18.99 price, yeah.
But
This is
if I
solid.
had bought a total of 13 bottles, I would get 25% off. So that would go to I would have to get 7 more bottles
Of
in
anything
order
else,
to get
right.
the 25%.
on
but I
those
would
bottles,
get
right.
the discount price.
Right.
It's already on sale, so there's no
That's what
further
you-
discount, but it counts towards the number.
That's
you
what
need
you
to
mean. It
reach.
counts towards the
The number you
overall
need-
number
number
you
you
get to
need to
get the
reach
big
to get-
discount
yeah,
for the other
right.
stuff.
So
Well,
what do you think, Randall? Did you try it?
it
Studio
tastes
audience,
like
what do you
wine.
think? Do you like it?
I have to say, it's tasty. I just don't know enough about wine.
That's not going to fly much longer, by the way. I'm just going to point this out to you.
For those
You're
who
not-
watch the show, they'll know that I will throw a good Spatzburgunder or Sassicaia into the mix, like I know what I'm talking about, or terroir, but I don't really actually.
But here's the thing: is now Ray's been on the show now doing Wine of the Week for I don't know how many months at this
Yes.
point. There's going to come a time where you cannot say that you don't know anything about wine, because each week you should be
I am.
absorbing
He is the
and
great
tasting and
and-
learning about
like the
wine.
old academy. You would sit at the feet of a philosopher and absorb all that knowledge.
There you go.
I may be spongy, but not
You see,
something
you're
that withholds a lot of
That
information.
head's made of concrete.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Ray's gonna go back upstairs. We got a big sale going on today. He's gonna be doing the tasting at 2. So please come by Julio's Liquors, 140 Turnpike Road, and Randall, take us away.
Yeah, well, he's going to go upstairs, I think, whittle some more bottles. They're all handcrafted, apparently. And we'll see him at 2 to to 3:30 today. Thank you for listening. It's the Liquor Talk. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be back on the other side of these commercials and continuing with the Facebook Live. But thank you, Ray.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. There goes Ray. Ray's off. He's gonna go upstairs.
He has a procession in, and then
he leaves
is it a
quietly.
recession?
No, he
for
does
you?
what we call an Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Just sort of
He just gets
just
up and leaves, and
fades,
we're
yeah,
like, hey,
just-
where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
And then you check your silverware.
So I'm being distracted because I'm hearing
It sounds like the sounds of moderate violence going on.
So Johnny on the spot today, Frisky Whiskey himself is making us some cocktails today. So I want you to be aware of that. And I think
And you normally don't associate sound effects or audio
maybe
with
shaking
cocktails.
maybe shaking ice and stuff like that. But in John's and he posted the recipe on the Facebook page.
Okay.
So on the Facebook feed, you can see the recipes of the stuff he's making. But he's over there slapping his
I
mint.
can smell it.
So that's what the kids are calling it these days, anyway, slapping his mint. But he's not
To
bruising
release
it.
the full bouquet and the aromatic essence of mint, you slap it. You
slap
don't
it.
really crush it or grind it like they do in a
No,
mojito.
no. Very delicate, very delicate. Just to release the oils and the
slapping
aromas.
is delicate.
Yeah, they're not.
But he's a good 20 feet away from us, and I can smell the
mint.
aroma of.
He may have slapped.
wafting over
He
to
may
us.
have slapped it too hard.
No, I think he's.
They got a cream for that, John.
Yeah.
When you slap it too hard. So anyways,
Well,
he's over there.
He's doing us very special. Do we know what this one is?
Well, he's doing a couple things. So we have John Taffer is coming in on Wednesday. Actually, I think it's sold out. Might be a couple of spots left. Taffer's tea he's making.
This is a recipe that he has come up with.
No, this is
Taffer.
Taffer.
No, that Taffer has come up with.
Taffer's came up with. So here's the thing. John Taffer's coming in. Now he's done he actually has done it here. He's visited here, done the meet and greet, signing bottles, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he's doing that in a couple places in Massachusetts over like the next week or so. But, I started going, listen, I'm taking a page out of John Taffer's own book and saying like, all right, you've been doing this. This is now boring. You need to change it around. So what we're doing for our Whiskey Wednesday, and you'll be able to follow us along go to it's the Liquor Talking, and we'll also have it on the Julio's Facebook page. We're basically going to do cocktail hour with John Taffer, and I'm going to interview John. We're going to talk about his product. We're going to talk about all this stuff, but more importantly, we're going to talk and drink some cocktails made with his Taffer's browned butter bourbon.
Right.
And so we're going to
this
go
is
through
what John has made as a sneak preview to that event.
Yeah. So he's doing. So today's. What is this one, Johnny? Taffer's tea. This is Taffer's. Which is just apropos since we're in Massachusetts because we've been spilling tea since 1773. All right. So let's try this. See how this one is. John, I got to tell you, this is really good. I like this one.
And very uncocktail like. You normally have like a kind of a bitters or like kind of a bracing element. And this
really
is
nice.
embracing some of the sweetness, but with some light, like almost tea flavors.
That citrus cuts it nice. He made a paper plane last week that was phenomenal. I hope he's going to make that for. You making that one for the event? Paper plane for the event. I love it.
Yeah.
Really good.
That flew the distance.
From high heights to low lows. Here we go. All right, we got to come back now. Here we go. You ready? Oh, we're ready. Ted, take us back. All right, everybody, we're back on the air. During the break, we tried a really great cocktail called Taffer's Tea that Johnny on the spot put it together for us because John Taffer is coming in this Wednesday. I think it's sold out. I think we tried to add a couple more spots, so it may have a couple more, but I know we were already at 60 people. We're going to do cocktail hour with John Taffer, basically.
Right. And this is a delicious kind of cocktail called Taffer's Tea that we had.
Mhm.
And right now, John is
really good.
icing down his mint slapping hand because he definitely released
He was
a lot of
slapping
that
some mint.
flavor
That's what the kids.
into
Yeah.
the
Hey,
cocktail.
I'm gonna keep mentioning this, but we have our big sale today. Fall into savings, a 2-day sale. You want to come down for this one at 2 o'clock. We're actually doing what we did this summer. It's a tasting event.
I know
and
what
it's
we did this summer.
Yeah, I know we did this summer, but it's all about our special projects in spirits, special projects in beer, and in wine because the new Midnight Cellars Mooncraft, our own wine, actually drops today. Don't drop it,
Yeah,
but it
and I
actually
think you're going
drops
to have
today.
people who can explain some of the backstory on some of those projects too.
Yeah, you're going to be here. John's going to be here. I'm going to be here. We got Frank is going to be here, and we'll go through all of the projects. If you want to learn about them, you're not only going to get to taste them, but you'll talk to people that know about the projects and how they came about
Yep.
and how they were made and stuff like that. In the beer department, that Matt's going to be over there going through those. It's going to be a really, really cool event today.
2 p.m. to
Yeah.
3:30. Pretty hard cutoff at 3:30.
No,
Well, the sale will continue.
no, the sale continues all day. It actually goes into Sunday. But we always say, okay, so here's the deal. People go, well, it's sort of a short amount of time. Listen, for the amount of tables and stuff we're going to have to taste, an hour and a half is plenty of time. But we always say, we do an hour and a half because then it gives us, we tell everybody it's 2 hours that works here. But I always tell the consumers that it's an hour and a half because if I have to cut it off, it gives me an hour and a half to cut it off. If I want it to keep
Right.
going, I can keep going. If everybody behaves themselves and everybody's tasting, not drinking, then it keeps going.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people have an opinion on how you should do stuff with your events, but the reality is they don't have to deal with a person who's there for 3 hours just getting crazy.
Well, yeah,
with
and we
the
do, and we
products,
do,
and
we
you
do,
have to be
we
careful.
do, we
with
do,
that
yeah,
kind of
we
stuff.
we do watch them and all that stuff too. So, a couple things coming up too. We have that event today. We have that sale this weekend, but next weekend is the Falltober Fest,
Yeah.
which is October 5th, next Saturday, 2 to 3:30. It's a beer and cider grand tasting. Allagash, Widowmaker, Von Trapp, West Stefana, Armory's Tomb, Mighty Squirrel, Southern Tier, Berkshire, Zero Gravity, Cold Harbor, Sam Adams, Wormtown, Jack's Abbey, Redemption Rock, Proclamation Ales, Dogfish Head, Apothecary Ales, Angry Cider, Down East, Citizen Cider, Carson's Orchard, Shackberry Cider, Magnus Cider, Stormalong Cider, Woodstock Inn and Brewery, Pivotal Brewing, and Notch, just to name a few.
Yeah, but other than that,
I'm
is
never
there
doing that
anything
again. So, but there you
happening?
go.
Yeah.
So they're going to be here next Saturday, Falltober Beer Fest. Here's the thing with that one. That one is a $10 gift card to go. However, you can bring a friend. So there you go. And it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot
And
of
the
fun.
gift card you get back when
You get the
purchase
gift.
stuff.
Yeah, you can purchase stuff. Use the gift card to
And
purchase
part of
things.
that is because what
What's
a
wrong
lot
with
of
that?
people don't realize is that you have to kind of manage how many people and the commitment level of people to come to these events because
It's
you want to
food,
have
it's
the
all this
best
other stuff, too.
experience
Right.
for the people that are coming instead of just a mad cattle call. And I think I've seen other places where they just are like jam as many people in.
Yeah.
People are angry. They can't support, enough samples for everybody. You don't get the information you want to get. So I like the way that you do it, but as always, I feel like people have a comment that they want to say about
right.
whatever people are doing.
So I'm gonna do two things today.
Oh,
We're going to
boy.
do the drink of the show, and the drink of the show is Encore, which is our Maker's Mark Private Select. It's our stave profile that we've been doing. This is the seventh or eighth bottling of it. Encore it's the last one that we've done. We're going to do one. By the way, we are going to do one more, and it's going to be called Second Curtain. So that is
Really?
going to be coming. So so this is Encore, the current release that's up there now. We finally told people the stave combination we use, although people have been trying to figure it out for a while. We did that in Reveal, the one before this.
Okay,
So
for those listening, you can pick different stave combinations and kind of make your own unique kind of twist on Maker's Mark, right?
right.
And we have never really released that until recently.
We did
And
Reveal.
partially, the reason that we did that was because a lot of the staves that we had previously used, they took out of rotation for what you could use.
One of the key staves to this is not in rotation anymore. So
So it doesn't
they
matter if we reveal it.
no, it doesn't.
Nobody
because
can
you're only
kinda-
going to be grandfathered in. So,
But they didn't lose all those staves.
oh
We
no,
found a few more.
they found a few more.
And so we're going to continue with our recipe, but nobody can duplicate this.
No one can duplicate this one. And there's over 1,001 recipes that are combinations that you can use.
And we're trying
Ours
all
does
of them.
not use any baked American pure. It does use 2 seared French cuvee, 4 Maker's Mark 46 staves, and 3 roasted French mocha, which is the one you can't get anymore, and 1 toasted French spice stave. Now, what they do is basically give us a batch of Maker's Mark that they've already blended together, ready to go. And we take these staves and we actually put them in like you would a tea bag
Yeah.
into the barrel. Barrel gets sealed up and put in the cave or cellar for like 9 weeks.
These are toasted or charred staves. They are not putting mocha flavoring in.
No.
That stave gives that type of influence in terms of flavor. So it's like a tea bag in the sense that each of the staves is being put in,
Right.
but they're not putting the actual spice. You can't throw chocolate or other things in
No.
there.
It's just an influence coming from that
And
type
the
of process.
genius of this is that they then age it in a controlled cave environment.
Right. So the only influence on the barrel basically is those staves. It's innovative. No one else really does a sort of system like this. There are some people now that are doing some other things similar to this, but not as much control by like the people buying the barrel like we do.
Right. And so by putting it into a cave, you're taking the heat element out, which will tend to release more of the wood flavor and color from the sides of the barrels, and concentrating on what's hanging in the barrel on these staves that are in suspension in the center of it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a
very innovative.
It's very
and
innovative, and the good part about it is once you get that, because Maker's Mark is so consistent about producing their product,
both the staves and the liquid that you're
Right.
buying as the base.
that you can come very, very close to being able to duplicate that consistently.
Whereas a normal barrel is like a wild card.
It's a wild
because every barrel might be on the north side of the tree with a bigger pore structure, et cetera, et cetera. But this
What do you think
allows
of
you
this
to
one?
control.
You like it?
I think I liked it every time we've done it.
Every time we've done it,
So-
there is slight variations, very slight, but there is slight variations on it.
Yeah.
Because of the way we do it, right? But
And
the reason why I picked this to be
The drink of the show.
drink of the show is because there was an article that just came out, and I'm looking for it right now. Okay.
Oh boy.
So Makers, this is from Bourbon Culture, and the article is Maker's Mark is the most boring whiskey brand ever. Okay. And the basic premise is they actually use a comedian's Jim Gafford. I know who he is. I can
Yeah,
picture him, but he uses the same thing, and he uses the Mexican restaurant sort of his comedic routine about a Mexican restaurant. You have the same ingredients, and you can get that as a burrito. Yep, same ingredients. You can get it as a taco. Same ingredients. You can get it. You can get an enchilada. Same ingredients. And he's saying that that's basically what Maker's Mark is they haven't changed anything. They have one mash bill. They make that mash bill. They have done this thing where they've added wood, like the Maker's 46, and they have done what we just tasted to us today, which is the private select
Right.
barrel thing where you can add staves to it. So he basically talks about that and how they've not done really anything innovative, and it becomes the releases have become what he calls gimmicky. Okay. But here's my, which is fine. Everybody is
I would
entitled.
argue that they're the opposite of gimmicky.
well, okay.
But anyway.
Well, no, and we'll get to that. And listen, that's somebody's opinion, and I get it. But I have to tell everybody. So the beauty of Maker's Mark is the consistency.
Yeah.
You know, you want to take that over? Like, how do they make it consistent, Randall?
Because they've done it the same way for everything. And they designed this, they basically designed the recipe in the 1950s, right? With the
Yeah.
Samuels. And they had a profile that they were trying to get to, and they were innovating with a lot of the red winter wheat, this is a wheated bourbon.
Yep.
And they were looking for something that was sippable and drinkable and be very consistent. And for millions of people around the world and in the United States, this is their go-to whiskey. And they've done a very consistent job. These people do not want to reach into their cabinet and have a wild card coming out every time they go to drink a bottle of bourbon. They're making consistent drinks in bars, restaurants, and everything, and it always delivers. I've never heard a story of a bad bottle of Maker's Mark.
And to that consistency effect, there's systems in place when they distill and barrel selection and all of this stuff. But one of the other things they do is they rotate around the center of the rick house. So in other words, the in the middle of the rick house, they'll leave those barrels alone, but they take the top tiers and they put them on the bottom, and then they take the bottom tiers and put them on the top, and they rotate the barrels around. So at the end, when they're ready to pull those barrels, they're all have had basically the same experience. All right. You'll get some variation because of the wood, but even then they're selective about what wood they have. So my argument would be that they have set up an entire system to make sure that there is very little drift. And drift is like as you blend stuff together,
Differences in flavor.
differences in flavor. So even though you perceive maybe, your bottle of whiskey always being the same, there's what they call drift, and it will move over from that. And Maker's Mark doesn't have a lot of that.
Right.
They're very, very consistent with this. And now but here's my problem. The solution for this, it comes up with several
the
ideas.
writers are offering
arguing,
in
right.
this article. Yep.
Is release a product, single barrel or batch that is aged in the warehouse for 10 years. Do not put it in the cellar. So now they want an over one. And I guess I'm gonna have to put my my soapbox away because we do have to take a break. So I'm gonna give you, when we come back, I'll give you what the ideas for fixing this most boring whiskey in the world. I don't believe that. I'm going to give you what they suggest to do, and you be the judge. Take us out of here.
All right. Well, we're going to have to take a commercial break and try and cool down, but I guarantee when we're going to come back, it's going to be hot and with us another more soapbox kind of diatribe about this particular article. Please stay tuned. We'll be back on the other side of these commercials. And of course, continuing on the Facebook Live feed with the video.
All right. I am going to, while we're on the thing, Johnny, I think we're okay. Can you bring those donuts up to us when we need them? No, when we need them? Yep. Okay, we're good.
We don't need them now?
No, we're not going to get to that yet. All right. So Johnny's going to go upstairs because we are having a sale today, so he's helping us out. Now, Lee Baudelaire, which is a premix cocktail, right? Yep. They came out, and one of the premix cocktails that they make is Porn Star Martini.
Okay.
Okay. So
this is
first
a
of all,
cocktail that's become popular in the last few years.
Well, here's the thing: is it was popular a while ago.
Okay.
And we were talking about it. I said, this should make a resurgence because it is actually sort of a good cocktail. I just read an article the other day. Guess what is on the rise?
Yeah.
I mean, you could take that two ways. Porn Star Martinis are on the rise. So I thought it was funny that one of the very few places right now is Lee Baudelaire. It has the Porn Star ready to drink 700 ml. So I figured we would go back and retry this because the article that I read telling how it's made it back had this really weird picture on the cover. And it's like, doesn't even look like a Porn Star Martini. It looked very strange. But here's a Porn Star Martini, and I
Premixed.
It's basically vodka, passion fruit, vanilla, and lime. And they use a little bit of mango to sort of do it. You want to grab some, I'll give you some. I'll give our studio audience some so that they can have some.
I thought you were going to say grab a mango.
Grab a mango. Mango where? Mango there. There you go. So I thought we would, during the break, we retry it. So, I mean, it does have a sweeter character too. I can see why this would be very, very popular.
Yeah, because this is one of those things that's delicious to drink, and a lot of the other ones that
it's sweet and then it goes sour.
Will have big effort, I don't know. I think a lot of the core cocktails have a sour component with a little bit of an offset of sweetness, plus the whiskey flavor. And these are now taking it in like a new direction. And I enjoyed the Taffer's tea as well, which has a lot of lemonade, for example, in it. So
and I think, certain things like, well, even the Taffers, and we're going to talk about this when John Taffer's here, but he kept it at a higher ABV when he made this. So I find it not cloyingly sweet.
Yeah.
Like a lot of flavored, well, especially when you're doing, brown butter bourbon. I mean, you think that's going to be sickening sweet. It's not, because he kept the alcohol level up. But when you use it in a cocktail, it really sort of blends in very well. John did that paper plane last week. That was fantastic. That was a really well balanced cocktail.
Because there's additional flavor, and that flavor showcases. It doesn't just, you get a lot of the whiskeys in the classic cocktails, and the whiskey could be substituted for anything.
Right.
But like this Taffer's or the Porn Star cocktail are they're there because you're looking for a particular type of flavor.
Flavor
and
component.
That passion fruit mango kind of element is really what sets us apart.
Yeah, I mean, I just see this being more accessible. I think it's maybe, other than the name, it's really good. So let's go.
Yeah.
We're coming back. Hey everybody, welcome back to It's the Liquor Talking right here on WCRN. And during the break, we actually were having a Porn Star martini. We're having a premix one.
Premix cocktail.
Lee Baudelaire, which is a premium French cocktail company. They make a really good. The only thing holding Porn Star martinis back, I think, is the name Porn Star.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward to ask for.
You know
but
what I
then
mean?
I guess a lot of the bar calls or the old 80s and 90s drinks were
Hobby
kind of
Wallbanger
risque.
and stuff like that.
Sex on the beach.
Yeah, Sex on the Beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it is actually really good, and I see why it's gaining popularity. I just read an article this week. We had actually predicted that, I don't know how many months ago, but about that. But keep an eye out for it. Yeah. All right, before I get back to my soapbox about all.
Let me make a sound effect.
You're getting a slight echo.
You're dragging over your soapbox.
Well, before we get to that,
okay,
let's do this one first.
Question of the show.
The question of the show. Right.
All right.
We haven't done the question of the show. Let's do the larceny question of the show today is, what whiskey and beer mixed together is often called what? Whiskey and beer mixed together is often called what? A hot potato. B, a boomtown. C, a boilermaker. Or D, a big mouth.
I like all the names for it.
You do,
but I'm
don't
going to go with C, the Boilermaker.
Randall says C, the Boilermaker. Oh, our studio audience also says C. I don't think anybody chimed in right away.
Either that Facebook. Or he's developing a lobster claw.
Yeah, because it's the C. The answer is, of course, Boilermaker.
Yeah.
So I figured today, since we were doing a lot of sales on beer and whiskey, I think it was a good day to throw that one out there.
Okay, so let me continue.
Good answer, Randall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about
I'm getting a faint back echo.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
It could be the hollowness of our heads.
It most likely is.
Earphones rattling around there, but we're going to drag out that soapbox and continue a conversation that we started before the commercial break about how there could be a boring whiskey that somehow is one of the world's best-selling whiskeys.
I mean, the premise of the article from Bourbon Culture is Maker's Mark is the most boring whiskey brand ever. And I would just argue that premise right there. I can name 10 very boring whiskey brands if you want to get to brass tacks. But our argument is that they've built a brand based around consistency.
Do you think they're just trying to be titillating, like they're taking a national brand and they're just trying to create a little bit of controversy?
That could be it.
it.
That could be it. I mean,
I'm always about give credit where credit's due. I will hands down say Maker's Mark has the best distillery experience tour that you can make if you can make it to the Loretta campus where they do their things.
If you are touring Kentucky and you're going to do the Bourbon Trail, Maker's Mark is a must visit.
Second, I'm going to put Jim Beam in Claremont because their new design museum walkthrough experience is possibly the best explanation of how whiskey's made that I've ever seen. But
Heaven Hill does a really good job too.
They do too, and so does Buffalo Trace. But at the same time, I'm trying to rank in terms of like how innovative they are.
Well, I'm just saying, like a lot of times, if you only can see one or two, these are the ones you probably should
take. And innovation is a core of Maker's Mark, although they rely on consistency. So how does that happen? They do programs that allow you to customize it. They do have this cave aging, which I hadn't seen before when they started launching it. I'm sure it's existed in the hollers or wherever they were making whiskey at some point, but it is not something that I've ever seen anyone promote or advertise, and that's completely innovative too.
Here is my argument for what the person is considered boring, and how I think it's not. I think because if you really start thinking about it, it's
Right.
not. And here's why. First of all, the stay program, there's 1,001 combinations right there. Bam. But when you're always starting with the same base product, you know the DNA of what you're drinking.
Right.
So you can point out differences very easily. And it's interesting to see, starting with the same product, how things changed, like with the stay program, or with the cellar, where they're putting it back in the cellar and aging it 10 years. And and the thing is, let me go through the ideas that they say, and I'll sort of talk about a little bit about it. Idea one is the first obvious: release a product, single barrel or batch, that has aged in the warehouse for over 10 years,
This
but
is what
don't
the
put it in the
article
cellar.
is suggesting,
How they could make
how
it.
they could really step up their game.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
by the way, I'm just going to point this out before we even go further. All the suggestions are what other distilleries are already doing.
Right. It's not
So it's
real
not
true
really that
innovation.
innovative. But okay, let's take them one at a time. So we don't put it age it 10 years, but not in the cellar, where there is less influence about
You get more of a wooded whiskey, which everybody out in the world has a very heavily wood spiced whiskey.
Well, you got to remember too,
Bourbon.
you're talking about Maker's Mark, which is first of all a wheated bourbon. So the wheat itself is going to tend to show the woodiness sooner and more to a drastic measure, because it doesn't have the spices that, let's say,
high
what the rye
would,
does.
yeah.
So it's going to show those anyways. And to be honest with you, when you start going 10 years outside, and depending on where you put it in the rick house, let's say you put it up top because you want all this influence, you could be overwhelmed where you get you and I call a one note.
Yeah.
It's wood, and it's wood, and it's wood, and it's wood.
And if you
And
love
it's
that,
just so
that's
sensitive.
what you're
That's
going to
great.
want more of. But most people don't like a big singular note. They actually prefer complexity and consistency.
And the person was one of the examples they use is Wild Turkey's Unforgiven, which is basically somebody mixed bourbon and rye together, and that was sort of the mistake that happened.
Yeah, that they claim in the
right. But I mean,
the story that it was.
But this
mixed
whole
together
thing
as a
is
mistake.
he's saying that all of Maker's Mark's things seem gimmicky. Well, that is like I love the product.
Yeah.
You can tell me any story you want. Liquid to Lips, is it good? Yeah, I loved Unforgiven from Wild Turkey. That was great.
Yeah.
But when you tell me a story like this, whether it really happened or not, it seems to me gimmicky, right?
Right.
Somebody made a
But
mistake.
But also, it was explored through Burrai, which was the High West expression
Right.
before Unforgiven. So I don't know. I don't know. The thing. Can I just get on my own soapbox for a
Sure.
quick
Well,
second?
you're so far. You're
Okay.
just going to make you taller than me because you're taller than me, and getting on the soapbox.
I deal with guys, and this has happened more than once, where somebody has told me that they're like, you know what, you want this car that you're driving to handle a little better. You get like an angle grinder and you cut 2 inches out of the springs, and that makes the camber, it makes it look like a cartoon car where the wheels are going sideways and this and that. And this will make it handle better and race better. And all I'm thinking the whole time that they're saying this is like, where are you getting your information? Well, my cousin did it, and he's a street racer. And I'm like, you're going up against, let's say on a Japanese or a German car, 10 guys who have doctorates in suspension geometry, who have made the most high performing across all conditions possible thing. They live, sleep, and eat and drink suspension geometry.
Yeah.
Right? Like
they dream about it.
They have doctorates in it, right?
Right.
And your cousin took out an angle grinder and figured out how to do it better than these guys?
I doubt it.
Right.
Well, only for one specific purpose. If that's the only thing you're using for, I get it.
Look, to be honest
but
with
it's
you,
the look.
Because anytime I've seen a car broken down on the road with the wheels ripped off or the suspension ripped off, it's been somebody who's messed with the suspension instead of leaving it factory. Now, apply this to the bourbon thing. These people who don't make bourbon have an opinion on how bourbon should be made, and they're going after a big company who's made its reputation. And by hands down, there are people who this is their brand and what they love, and they're going to now tell them how to do it better. The Samuels family and Maker's Mark have lived, ate, slept, drank, and thought about bourbon for well over 60, 70 years.
Right.
And you've got some ideas that you want to pitch
Well,
because
I mean,
you
but,
saw it down the road.
but one
at a
of the
different
things he's saying,
distillery.
it's the stuff they've done is it's gimmicky. I mean, okay, now you're pulling out Wild Turkey, Forgive Him, which is gimmicky. And his thing is like the story could be, whoops, one of our workers accidentally bottled a 12-year-old cask strength bourbon that spent its life in the middle of floor warehouse X. Well, okay, that's okay. You're already telling this is gimmicky for two. Number two, release barrels that were never rotated. So now you're not moving. So give us like a
Give me
barrel.
a single barrel that's going to be off the profile of
Right.
Makers.
So, but listen, if I was going to do this, I would do 375s and I'd do one top floor, middle floor, bottom floor, and do 375 so you could just taste the difference. If that was the case, that's at least an idea that you could do, but you do that as an experiment for geeks. That's really not something you're going to release on a, and I'm going to tell you right now, all the stuff that they do release, they don't release enough of it.
And by the way, these are all businesses. I ran into this when I worked with Diageo. People like had all these ideas about what distilleries should be kept open and what distilleries should be closed. So the great Rosebank or other ones got shut down. And all the people that were voting about it were fans.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to pay the workers, make sure that the distillery was up to date, could be licensed to do that, pay the crown the taxes, all these things. It's great to have an opinion and show how it's gimmicky, but like you're really not listening to why it's such a great product.
Third idea is to create a new bash bill. It goes against the inception point of what Maker's Mark.
Right.
Anyways, and this is what everybody else does. So
not innovative.
Create
not
in this the number 4 idea is one of the things that would drive me absolutely bonkers and every other whiskey drinker bonkers, whether you're in retail, on premise, off premise, or a consumer. Oh, we got to take a break, and I was just about to go into. We got to take a break.
All right. Well,
wow, this is a long. I got to pull
So if you can come back on the other side of these commercials, you'll find out what the last thing that has driven Ryan Maloney crazy, the final,
the only
straw that broke the camel's back. When we return on WCRN, it's the Liquor Talking. Please stay tuned after these commercials.
All right, I didn't know what to do for the this break. But I think
well, I think it's not gimmicky, Ryan.
I think what we have to do for this break is we just had Knob Creek this past week do the Whiskey Wednesday, and it was a great Whiskey Wednesday, by the way. But I brought in one of my barrels that we did, Randall, of Knob Creek, and this is a lock and key single barrel Caramel. It's a 15-year-old Knob Creek.
Yeah. And Knob Creek was an experimental version that when they were in their downtime in the 90s, they came up with a higher rye type bourbon, and they made a brand out of it. And then years later, it's become a thing. So, I mean, this is exceptional because it's very different from what they normally offer in their single barrel releases.
Right. And by the way, we only had one barrel of it and it's sold here. And again, this is outside of this could be outside of the flavor profile. You say, I thought you might want some of this. And right after we come back from
our studio.
Yeah, we're talking to the studio audience. I think what we'll do when we come back is I'm going to actually have you hand us up the donuts. We come back, we'll finish. I'll get off my.
No such thing as a free lunch, audience member. You're going to have to work for that whiskey that we just handed to you.
So this is a 15-year-old. Why don't you give us those? We only need 2 each, right? So you got to just tell us which ones are which.
Okay, he has 2 types of donuts.
We're going to do
separated.
Yeah,
I'm just announcing what I'm seeing here, but I don't really know what the full.
Well, what we're going to do now is we had this discussion last week. Kenny brought us some donuts after we were done, some cider donuts.
Yeah.
This is Common Man's cider donut. So we're not going to try it yet. We're going to try it when we come back. This is Common Man. I'm going to write that down.
All right, nice crumb. You know, the British Bake Off just released last night.
Yeah, I know. My wife's all excited about it.
I had to watch that, so I'm going to analyze it.
You're going to analyze it. You're going to go like, are you Paul? Are you Paul?
Yes.
You
no
Paul?
Doggy Bob.
You're not going to get. Are we going to get a handshake after this is done?
No.
What is this one? Clem's. This is Clem's Bakery. That's
all right. So I have put mine. across here.
All right, that's Clem's. All right, so when we come back, we're gonna do those as we're drinking our.
Right off the bat, they look like donuts.
Well, I got to tell you, they both are cider donuts, but they look different. We're gonna start.
No, they
talking
do,
about.
but I'm just saying
Yeah, I
that,
know.
like, my suggestion is if you want to make a donut and stand out in the industry, you're
Make
going to
it
have to
square.
get innovative and have one that's only available in certain locations
Well, that's
and
it.
square shaped,
And square shaped, of course.
because that will distinguish you from the rest of the donuts.
You gotta
Not the
warn me when
actual
you give me a
taste of it.
square shaped
Right. Don't worry about the
hamburger,
taste of it.
Wendy's. You let me know.
Done.
All right, let me get this.
What I'm looking for is the triangle shaped burger. I haven't seen that yet.
Why?
Because you want to have it come out of the edges of the burger, and then you can fly it around. 'cause
Well, no,
like,
what
it
I
looks like
wanted
a
to do.
little-
Okay, so if you're gonna do a
jet.
triangle shaped burger,
Yeah.
I want two of them so I can make a star out of it.
Yeah,
So now it fits. I want a double burger.
the shuriken.
The shuriken. Yes. All right. That's great. All right. So we're gonna do. When we come back, we're just gonna talk about idea number 4.
Actually, your complaint.
My complaint
About
about
number
each
4,
each idea I'm complaining about.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the please, I want to apologize. The writer came up with something. It's great. I'm not trying to take anything away from the person, but I don't think
will.
you're getting
I
it.
will
I don't
say,
think you're
like,
getting it.
To offer what everyone else does is not real innovation and is not boring. It's just boring because everyone else does it.
Right. Right. I know. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right.
How much time we get to come back? How much?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Here we go. Coming back. All right. Let's get through. We'll get through suggestion number 4. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to It's the Liquor Talking right here on WCRN AM 830, and we're broadcasting from Julio's Liquors. You want to see this afterwards, go to Julio's Liquors Facebook page. You can see it there. You can also go to It's the Liquor Talking wherever you get your podcasts, like this Spotify and so forth.
That's right. And over the
Actually, you can
break-
go back to the station. If you only wanted the, if you only really want to listen to this because you have an insomnia, you can go back to the WCRN and they actually have replays of this.
Yeah.
And then you can listen and you go to sleep.
It's under the section called Glutton for Punishment, and so you can listen to as many as you want.
There you go. So we have talked about that. There's an article from bourbonculture.com about that. Maker's Mark is the most boring brand out there, boring whiskey brand out there. And they've given some ideas, and we've gone through each of the ideas. I did number 4. And I
would
said
say
this
that
one's going to.
everyone's entitled to their own opinion. However, these people are wrong.
I would agree with you. This is like, I would agree with you, but then we both be wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, idea number 4 is create a very small specialized gift shop releases. Listen, please stop with the gift shop releases. All it does is frustrate everybody. Everybody in the world is frustrated by gift shop releases because you can only get at the gift shop. Most of us don't living. Signed, the guy who lives in Kentucky.
When did you first become aware of this problem? Because I have a feeling I know the answer to this.
Oh, I became a problem immediately. Every time I went to a distillery, I go, how come we don't get that?
I would say it goes farther back than that. When they used to do duty-free releases
Oh,
of
you're right.
scotches, when scotches were
Yeah.
in their heyday, and people would come into the store and be like, "Do you have this?" Like,
No, it's only a duty-free.
No, you can't get it, and
You
you
can't
have
get
to
it.
travel probably to the UK in order to get it.
Yeah. So very specialized things. The problem is the only thing people are going to get those are the people that go to the gift shop. The other problem is this little thing called secondary market where people buy things and then resell them at higher prices. So you're going to get people that live
Without
close to the
paying
distillery,
taxes, without doing
buy
any
as
responsible. Yeah.
buy as many of them as they can, and then sell them for 2, 3, 4 times the amount that they paid for them to people that want to get the specialty release that you only do at the distillery at their house. So this is
And
a
by the
bad
Makers
idea.
has a gift shop experience.
Yep.
Which you can only get at the gift shop.
Right.
Which is
They do
dipping
it-
your own
they
bottle
dip
and
your own
doing
bottle,
some
right.
other things too, which is fantastic. But
And here's the other one. Collaboration. So you're gonna love this one because
Oh, boy.
you're gonna get into we're getting into a really dark matter right now. Collaborate with someone to do something interesting with your barrels. How about a Jefferson's Voyage?
Oh,
Well, you fill
boy.
shipping container full of Maker's Mark barrels. Get it? You're probably rivals, but you can manufacturers can share technology across brands, and
Is this
like
not gimmicky?
that is super gimmicky. But I'm going to even do you one better. Kelt Vodka is the one that had. There's two brands. Lynn Aquavit, where they put the Aquavit on ships and go across the equator and bring it back.
Yeah.
And Kelt Cognac had the captain's barrel where they would sail the thing around the world that would do it.
Based on
Jeff-
something that would have happened in the old
Old
world.
days, right.
Yeah, whatever.
And then I love that he picked out Jefferson's Voyage because I'm gonna say this because Randall won't. I think the original idea for Jefferson's Voyage came from Randall J. Bird
Yeah.
at a lunch that we had with Trey Zoller about putting barrels on a raft and Randall actually taking the barrels down from Kentucky to New Orleans.
Right. Which
Right?
was a legit
Well, there's a jet
historical thing
that
happened,
happened, right?
and they aged on the river,
Right.
meaning they got knocked around and you got a little bit more color, and it took more time than something that just rolled out of the distillery fresh,
But it's
hot,
all
like
about
moonshine.
rolling the barrels and getting that final maturation
And the 4-month
on-
journey of
journey,
rafting them
right.
down to
So- And then there's just like, oh, why don't you do what Blacken does, collaboration that they've done with Willett and other people? I go, you mean you want it to be innovative? So copy people is innovation.
right. And
makes
innovative
no
is to play the rock music playlist to do, So everybody who needs to distinguish their brand, and Maker's Mark's distinguishing brand or note is that they have a high quality, consistent product that every time you open a barrel, you know exactly what
Here,
you're getting.
I'm
A
gonna
bottle,
put this
you're going to know
right.
exactly what
Exactly.
you're going to
Well,
get.
here we go.
And that pleases
But
most people in the world.
They're very much the Toyota Camry of bourbon. They're reliable and a little bit flash, but no one's confusing them for Porsche or Pappy. Oh my God. I'm not going to get into the Pappy Van Winkle thing, but I'm consistently putting out a product at the right age, at the right time makes a better bourbon experience.
But
You
on
don't need
top
to-
of
you don't
that,
need flash. You're
some
basically
people
saying
want
gimmicky and
a
flash.
reliable car, and the Camry, you really cannot beat the Camry. It may not be the sexiest car.
Well, that's his point, though. It's not sexy.
But that is the model of the Camry. Like, so you're going to be like, you know what? Make it sexier. Then it's not a Camry.
By the way, I'm just going to say I don't think that Maker's Mark is boring. I think there's a ton of innovation that they're putting out using a base product that is consistently made time and time again. You have things like the wood projects that they're doing. You have things that the cellar projects that they're doing, and it's really cool because you can actually take the DNA of what you're tasting and go back to a consistent product time and time again.
And the people that go through the distillery have a personalized experience. They connect with the information. Their whole thing is based on tradition, but without being stuck in the traditions of yesteryear, because their art and their collections, which are part of the founders' family,
I would
thing,
argue
is
that we're
unbelievable. It's
too
the
much.
most
I would
beautiful
argue.
distillery.
I would argue that we're too much one and dones. Like everybody comes out with an innovation, but it's over. After it's out, it's over.
And
you can't
most
go back to
people
no one
can't
want to do
get
it. And
we did
again,
a fantastic one-off whiskey, right, with a Moxie barrel, and it sold out. That's it. You can't go back unless we redo it. And then if we're redoing it, then it's
not as innovative.
It's gimmicky and it's not innovative.
As Ted says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is better. So last week we talked about cider donuts. All right. And Kenny, Well, Kenny got us some cider donuts from Davidian, and they were excellent. But in our our constant striving to try everything to give our listeners the best experience possible,
Right.
we
So
have
you
more
can
cider
listen to
donuts.
us eating, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have more cider donuts, and this is a way for us to get free donuts.
All right.
So we got two
on the
donuts
table.
here. So here we go. We got Common Man cider donuts, which is up in, and Clem's cider donuts. That's what we have this week.
All right.
So we tried. By the way, the Davidian Brothers farm donuts were fantastic last week.
Yeah.
So they do look a little different. The Clem's looks a little bit darker and a little bit bigger, but also a little bit more handmade. The Common Man one looks good. And now I've had these at my stop
both look
going up to New
handmade.
Hampshire.
All right. So the new Great British Bake Off
Mhm.
dropped, and so of course I had to watch it.
Yeah.
the minute that it became available.
Did you watch all of them?
Nope, just they're releasing the new season one at a time.
Oh,
so
smart.
this one has a nice. It's kind of a dense, cakey structure,
Yep.
and I think that in a lot of the cider donuts, you're not getting like that glazed, fluffy puff.
Yep.
Kind of. It's a heavier donut, but
Now I'm trying the Clems.
I have some lemonade.
Some lemonade.
Mhm.
Is that going to mess you up?
Mm-mm.
Now the Clems is some darker flavors in it. The Clems is actually more reminiscent of a what's the old fashioned donut, which I love. I love an old fashioned donut, but I would say that the Clems is more akin to an old fashioned. I'm not getting this. I'm not getting the apple part as much in the Clems.
Yeah.
The Common Man one, I think, if you're gonna go, you're going for like, I want a real cider donut experience out of the two. I would probably say the Common Man one
It's more cider.
as more like a cider donut.
Yeah.
Neither
I
one of
agree.
them are terrible, and I'm going to eat both of them. And if I don't, Randall will.
Yeah.
But I am going to tell you that that's sort of my breakdown of that. Now, I will tell you, because I dreamt about it the other night. The Davidian Brothers Farm donut was, I think, still a little bit better than these.
Yep.
I don't know if
agree
you're
on
in
every
agreement.
point that you're making
You agree with me on every point? Wow.
around these donuts,
Oh, I thought it meant
including
everything.
the fact that I'm going to eat the ones that you don't.
I know you are.
Have quickly.
Do you want to? Well, since we only have a minute left, let me see if I can open this because this is going to be tasted today. At 2:00 today, we're having what we did this summer. And let's see if I can get this open. Johnny tried to get everything done for me here. Oh,
We
he did.
cut the wax.
Cut the wax
And it
for me.
has a. This is a beer.
Yeah, this is Three Floyd's Mountain Skull. This is our own beer. This is going to be tasted today at 2:00 in the beer department, Randall. 2:00. We have a huge sale going on, but here's what they're gonna taste this out. So we had to open one anyways. I said, well, let us try it first. So here we go. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna drink the
Delicious,
beer.
Heavier. Is this a stout or an imperial?
Mhm.
So a very delicious
Mount Skull,
beer.
it's
Available 2 to 3:30 p.m.
Imperial
today
stout.
up in the store. And that's how you can continue with more of the store and this show because we're going to stop broadcasting very shortly.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your time and listening to our nonsense here on It's the Liquor Talking.
Thank you, Randall.
WCRN AM 830 on your dial. And we'll see you next week.
All right, bye everybody. I'm gonna hang up right now. Thank you, Ted.